Welcome everyone. I'm going to be talking about the changes and buffs for Luxray, but before I get into those, I quickly want to mention, if you are new here and you just clicked on this, welcome. Don't click off the video. I know it's a little bit unstructured, but make sure that you do check out the description. There is a link to the Google Sheet that I use in all my videos, and you can check out all the buffs and changes for yourself. And that's super important, especially this sheet right here on the bottom. I mean, all of these are really important and definitely worth checking out, but the most important one by far is the move change guide, because every single move in the hack is changed, and there's 100+ custom new moves, and it's just really important to check this out. And they're all organized into these nice little categories and stuff, so it's easy to navigate. That being said, Luxray has some incredible buffs, as always. Electric Dark is like a staple in ROM hacks. If you don't like it, like, this ROM hack will not appeal to you. And that's not me like being a dick, that's just me being extremely blunt, because if you think that Electric Dark Luxray is dumb or like forced type change, then you are very strongly going to dislike probably at least half of the type changes in this hack. Yeah, it's not like evil or anything, but dark doesn't have to be evil. I mean, tons of Pokemon are dark just because, and this is a ROM hack, and oh my god, they have black fur. Obviously, that's like the visual reason people give it. Also, just because they look pretty edgy, like, you know, the spiky fur and the angry appearance. But I also think that the dark typing fits. I mean, in terms of move pool that they had a bunch of dark moves, and then also just like Intimidate, Rivalry, Guts, like those are all very dark-ish abilities that it had in vanilla. And then the Pokedex talking about, you know, how it sees through walls and stuff. Like, it's kind of a nice little play on light. I don't know how to explain it, but I just think the typing fits very well. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, you think it does as well. And if you don't, then I don't know, this is just not the ROM hack for you. I'm sorry, because the style of buffs and changes will not appeal to you, because they are very extensive, and sometimes there are like quote-unquote forced type changes, because I do want to have every type combination in this hack. That being said, though, hopefully that is out of the way. Luxray has some awesome abilities and move pool and stat buffs, as always. The pre-evolutions have the ability Volt Rush and Intimidate, while Luxray gains Tinted Lens. I know I just had 2 Tinted Lens Pokemon in a row. It's a little bit of favoritism because I fucking love this ability. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite ability, but it also just fits Luxray really well. It's a really interesting take. I've never really heard people talk about it, but it's really fucking cool. Like, they're all about X-ray vision, seeing behind walls. So I think Tinted Lens and having it dual stab, in this case being unresisted, is absolutely godlike. I mean, Electric Dark is already very good neutral coverage, and then when you add on the fact that you have Tinted Lens, it's godlike. You can spam your very strong stab moves. They do have a much better 105 base speed because they are electric type, and they are, you know, relatively nimble looking as like this cat, lion, lynx type thing. However, speed tiers in this hack are in general a lot higher. Not in general, but like, some of them are actually slower, but there is a lot of like 100, 105 type speed mons. So you can check the speed tier guide out and look at those down below. You can see where Luxray stacks up. It is speed time with a lot of other Pokemon, but still a great speed tier to be at nonetheless. Not to mention you do have priority, which all Pokemon in this hack have. You have priority in the form of Sucker Punch, Spark, Shockwave, Night Burst, and First Impression, with Shockwave and Sucker Punch being reteachable, which is excellent. I mean, Tinted Lens on Shockwave and Sucker Punch is great. Don't sleep on Intimidate, though. Keep in mind, in this ROM hack, you do have access to infinite usability capsules, so you'll essentially be switching between your abilities at will, because Intimidate has immense utility in-game because the AI rarely switches out, so you can essentially just cycle through Intimidate with Parting Shot and make yourself a lot bulkier. Yes, I did have to drop their bulk just to match that 550 base stat total, but that's more just because you know, the 3-stage mon 550 is like relatively standard for 3 stages in this hack. You know, like starters and stuff are also at that total, and tons of other Pokemon, including non 3 stages. But my point is, like, Intimidate is a great ability regardless. Tinted Lens is not always necessary because your coverage is already very good neutral coverage. Not to mention you have very good coverage moves as well, which are also buffed in terms of power with the Fangs and Play Rough and Bug coverage and rock moves and fighting moves and all kinds of stuff. All right, you got everything you'll ever need, really. You know, Hoodwink, Fairy, all kinds of coverage. Okay, and I'm not going to go through every single little option, but you can see it all right there, and you can check out what those do in the description down below. Especially, it also has some pretty good coverage, not as good as its physical coverage, but that's why you have Tinted Lens. Not to mention its special move pool is incredible in terms of stab, because you have very powerful moves like Electro Outburst, and then earlier on you have stuff like Zap Cannon. Twilight Cannon comes off either your attack or special attack stat, but still, just so much awesome stuff. They have great utility as well because of that Intimidate and because of stuff like Parting Shot, Nuzzle, Glare, Nuzzle dropping attack, special attack, and paralyzing. Stuff like Dismal Cry dropping offensive stats and also dealing damage. Scary Face, growl. Oh, it's really just all kinds of great utility. Okay, recharge, healing you a little bit, and having that charge effect, so it essentially triples your next electric move because it stacks with stab for 3 times multiplier, which is incredibly powerful, especially with tinted lens. That's the beautiful thing. Recharge with tinted lens is so cool. And yeah, there's really just, I mean, even just tinted lens volt switch. You can run choice sets in game. You know, choice band sucker punch, choice specs volt switch, choice specs shockwave. It's just got everything you would ever want. Awesome buffs, really. And yes, it is a mixed attacker with 120, 110 offenses. The P evolutions have volt rush as opposed to tinted lens because tinted lens isn't the most fitting on them, and also because I really like volt rush, and it's a very good ability as well. It's what I would have had over tinted lens if I didn't give it tinted lens. Volt rush being surge surfer, so it gives you double speed under electric terrain, which is now a TM, so you can teach that whenever you need the speed and the power, and you become incredibly fast and powerful. You also have great setup with Nasty Plot as well as Howl. Howl is essentially Swords Dance and Nasty Plot in one move. Keep in mind that the PP of setup moves in general is nerfed, not to mention there are other anti-setup mechanisms put into place in this hack, but it's still great nonetheless. And another really cool thing you can do is Howl plus Power Trip, because it gives you +4 overall with, you know, +2 in each of your offenses. So you can get 100 base power Power Trip, and that will also give you another +1 attack each time you click it now. However, Power Trip only has 3 PP just for balancing reasons, but that's still an incredibly powerful move. And that works great with Tinted Lens because you can just spam it without having to worry about things that resist dark. And you can also use that with Zing Zap, and Tinted Lens. Zing Zap boosting your speed by 1 now. 85 base power, 90% accurate, gives you +1 speed. Electro Ball also gives you +1 speed and is even earlier than Zing Zap. However, Electro Ball's first use is probably going to be relatively weak because of that stupid formula for that move. It'll probably be like 40 or 60 base power at most. But that works great because then the next time you click it, you're even faster and you're boosting your speed, so it's an incredible move nonetheless. Otherwise, you have other very powerful stab moves. Wild Charge is very strong. Volt Tackle is even stronger. All these moves are buffed or changed. So again, I cannot understate the importance of the move buff and change sheet because, again, everything you probably know about these moves is changed. I could go on for a little bit longer, but honestly, I think this is pretty straightforward. You have great utility and great offense because of your abilities and your typing and the ability. Excuse me, I'm repeating myself. The Movepool is what I meant to say. All right, all kinds of great stuff. Really, really cool buffs for Luxray. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you drop a like. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That would be very helpful for me. And you can also join my Discord server if that interests you. And then lastly, of course, the link to the Discord, link to the Google Sheets is in the description down below. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.